Welcome to the Visual Library Development Demo. Visual Library Development is an exercise we do to grow our visual library, helping us to not need references when we're drawing, but rather that we're able to pull the visual information we need from our minds. It's something that should be done pretty regularly, especially if you haven't done a lot of drawing or you're super new to drawing. And essentially, Visual Library Development drawing involves 2 observational drawing studies from reference, followed by 1 imaginative drawing without any reference, using your new knowledge on the object. All the drawings are done with a 2-stage workflow of rough and refined, and then they're laid out on the page and numbered 1 to 3. Generally, number 3 always refers to the imaginative drawing, which is the drawing from your head. In this demo, I've taken 2 top hat photos which I begin to draw out roughly and then refine them, before moving on to a 3rd drawing from my imagination. Visual Library Development, or VLD, is a great way to both grow your visual library and also get a good warm-up drawing session in. Watch till the end of the video to get the gist of VLD drawing, and then feel free to engage in the given VLD assignments. So at this point, I've started the refined stage of this first top hat drawing, and I'm busy adding in line weights and showing the overlaps. Before that, when I was doing the rough, I was drawing through, kind of just trying to grab the big forms, both the 3-dimensional shapes and trying to get the 2-dimensional shapes going. Here I'm doing my 2nd Visual Library Development drawing of the top hat and trying to be as accurate as possible. I'm pretty messy personally when I draw. Sometimes I totally break the thin and light rule, but it's definitely always best to try and strive to kind of draw as thinly and lightly as possible, because it makes adjusting things a lot easier. But nevertheless, there I managed to kind of more or less get the form down, and I then start doing the refinement on top. Doing this on paper, you may want to use a light box or a kneaded eraser to really lighten your rough lines once you're happy with your rough. Digitally, you can just put a layer on top, lower the opacity of the bottom layer, and then literally just put your top lines and your clean lines on top of the rough. Of course, one of the great advantages of digital is when you mess up a really long stroke or a very long smooth line, you can just undo it. So with traditional media like pencil, paper, and so on, what you'll really want to do is make sure your rough is more to a refined level before you do the final lines, so that your final lines really are kind of just almost tracing your original drawing, so to speak. And so here, once again, I finish up the 2nd image, and you may notice that I haven't really put a lot of shading or shadows into these Visual Library Development drawings, and there's a reason for that, particularly one, because this is a drawing course. I want us to really focus on drawing, not painting and rendering. And then secondly, it's also because that does take additional time when you're doing Visual Library Development drawings to then turn your brain into value mode and start kind of understanding rendering concepts. So here I go into just doing my own imaginative piece. Relatively imaginative. I'm sure you've seen a similar top hat design somewhere before. Nevertheless, I just go ahead and just kind of use what I've learned from drawing the top hat, the 2 top hats before, and just engage in making my own version. And then once again, I go into the refinement stage using 2 layers and kind of just doing some line weights, making sure the overlaps read, and finishing it up. And then I basically end off by laying them out on the page, labeling them, and that would be a completed Visual Library Development exercise.